All right, let's get started. I'm Zach Eichenberry.
I am Adam Anderson.
Awesome. And Adam, you and I are getting together tonight because we are working on a super secret podcast.
It is so secret.
Yes. And we thought we would give people a preview.
Yep, we should.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to record a conversation, and it's going to be edited heavily.
Well, yeah. And honestly, one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation is I'm a little angry about this whole Twitter hack thing.
Yes.
And it's not that very nice people had their accounts hijacked, and it's not that people who own Bitcoin actually gave it to these guys.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
wait to get into the details. I had no idea.
But the thing that really makes me mad is that I feel like for the last 2 years we've been screaming as loud as we can about social engineering and the dangers of vendor transparency and all of this stuff. And Twitter just checked every single box about what is wrong with today's cybersecurity industry. And the thing that really, really upsets me is it's going to be a news blurb, and it'll be done, and it'll be gone, and nothing will change.
It'll be a news cycle.
Yep.
Kind of like this COVID thing. Have you heard about it?
Yeah. I think it might have a comeback.
Yeah.
Or not.
I don't know. I felt like I read about it for a while there. So Adam.
Yes.
As a preview, as an interlude, as a trailer for what's going to be one of the best podcasts of all time.
Dare I say the best? I dare. Yeah.
It's going to, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be the best, without a doubt.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're going to try to circle up a number of different unique audiences. It's going to be.
So maybe we should start by telling the people who we're going to be better than. 100% better than the Tropical MBA.
Ooh, zing.
Yeah. Better than all of Dave Ramsey's network.
I think we're going to take out NPR in one swoop.
Well, come on now. Yeah, without a doubt. But that's like dunking on Muggsy Bogues, man. It's
if you're listening to this, I guarantee you did not listen to NPR this morning.
And if you did listen to NPR, I bet you never donate. Yeah, so we're going to be better than a lot of those. And the reason why I feel that it is going to be best is because of the authentic humor we're going to bring to difficult situations.
So here we go, Adam.
Yes.
The reason I turned on this microphone with you tonight is because I want to hear from you, who is a cybersecurity expert.
Yeah, you've written books and everything.
Yeah, you have. At least 2 people, including your mom, have said you're a cybersecurity expert.
Yeah.
So you have been researching and studying in the last 48 hours a thing called Twitter and the Twitter hack.
Yep.
So I would love for you to start in the beginning and give me the download of what happened at Twitter.
So the hack presented itself when about 130 accounts began tweeting, and I think there was 130 accounts that were breached, and maybe about 40 of them began tweeting. And what they were tweeting was, "Hey, we are giving away. I'm here to serve my community. I'm gonna whatever amount of Bitcoin you give me, I will send you double back. I'm gonna cap out at 50 million." Right, and so guys like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, guys like this who are, and here's the part that really got to me. In order for you to send them, and the study I read said about $100,000 transacted because they saw about 370 wallet transfers, and they're pulling numbers out of the air. But somebody sent these guys something, and it's not easy to make Bitcoin work. So you have to have a level of understanding about how technology works to make Bitcoin work. And then around 300 people were like, yeah, Elon, me and you're right. Let me help you out. So
can we stop and appreciate something that you spend time targeting and hacking one of the largest brands in technology today, and you think, I've got him, I'm going to win, I have 140 characters to do this.
Yes.
And you pick a scheme in which you ask for 1 Bitcoin and you'll give back 2.
Yeah. Yep. Strategy's important, Zach.
Yes, I feel like their last lap as the hacker, just from the hacker perspective, that last lap was a weak one. Like, that should have been your strongest leg.
Certainly.
You've done the relay up until then, but...
The issue that you might be having is that they're not actually super smart or creative people. What they're doing is exploiting the next thing they see in a row. And they've come up with all these ways of social engineering and hack and blah, blah, blah. But you can be a glorified project manager and outsource literally everything. So the people running the hack aren't the actual technicians doing the work anymore. It's a project manager buying services from the dark web. So probably what you have is a bunch of guys sitting around a dining room table, not quite unlike what we're doing today, going, you know what we should do? We could totally hack Twitter and we can run the Nigerian prince scheme. It's right there. I'm a Nigerian prince. I have my money trapped. If you send it to me, I can send you half of what you send me. I was moving my hand up and down to the left, like demonstrating an email coming in for the listeners at home.
But for the listeners at home that aren't familiar with the Nigerian prince, it's kind of like the Nigerian king, which was a really big Netflix show on how people exploit weaknesses.
Neat. I have a feeling you might be making that up, but maybe you're not, because there was also there was a documentary on Netflix called the Nigerian Queen, which was just a sassy hacker.
Picked up by HBO because HBO loves sassy characters.
It's so sassy, and a little bit of learning too. Yeah. I mean, you feel sass and educated at the end of it.
If you want a big budget, you go to Netflix. If you want a serious drama, you go to Amazon. And if you want sass, you go to HBO.
That is literally my bumper sticker, that entire statement. Did you read that on your way in the house?
I've been learning to read. I don't want to just drop that on you, but I've been practicing.
I'm impressed and proud. So full circle, they didn't finish strong. How they decided to use the voice of these people to try to get people to send them Bitcoin just demonstrates the unsophistication of them. But here's a trend that should terrify everybody as it's getting better. That they have organized crime is in the mix now. And now that this kind of attack has been demonstrated to work, it's weaponized, and other people are going to start using it again.
So tell us what we know about the actual mechanics of the hack. What do we know?
Insider job by a socially engineered employee that had some kind of SMS hijacking going on, some SIM-related two-factor authentication. Now, I just said a lot of nerd talk right there. When you log into an application and they want to make sure it's you, they will send your phone a text message, and then you say, yay, that's me. And this is how we do password resets and a lot of that kind of stuff. What the bad guys did was they did targeted phishing attacks on these 130 people ahead of time. Spear phishing attacks is when they tried to collect really good information on people. And they used those to answer the secret questions to call these cell phone companies to have the SMS cards, the SIM cards on your phone, redirected to new cell phones. So when the two-factor authentication typed in where they're resetting the username and passwords, it went to the hacker's phone, not to Elon Musk's phone.
And there's always going to be some emerging information because there's going to be some level of detail more than just the SMS reset that these guys got a hold of in order to pull this off.
Well, the SMS was the last of the long, long line.
Sure.
And so the beginning was identifying who they wanted to go after on the Twitter platform, then running a targeted spear phishing campaign against those people to collect as much information as they possibly can. Because when you call up a cell phone service or any service, they have all these security questions. What's the name of your first pet? What car did you drive? What's the school you went to? And literally 100% of that's on Facebook.
That's right.
And matter of fact, you might have even filled out a really neat survey that came out like, let's see how you match with your friends. And every single one of those surveys are all your security questions that the bad guys are asking you to fill out. But at least you know you're a Hufflepuff.
Oh, Wait, are you a Hufflepuff?
No, I don't do those things. Gryffindors are like too cool. We don't.
That's right. I'm a Gryffindor, and I've just never done
Because
this.
I mean, I guess that's what. I guess that's what the peasant Hufflepuffs
Exactly.
do.
Yes.
So-
But our audience is largely Slytherin, so we can.
Yeah, I mean it's fair. This whole thing starts with collecting a whole lot of data, and then based off of how successful those phishing attacks are, they start narrowing down who they're going to start targeting, and then they have to have a platform to do the attack. In this case, they chose Twitter, and the way they approached it, and this is the part I don't know. I don't know if it was an insider threat job, meaning that there's a disgruntled employee, or maybe employee was blackmailed, or maybe there was something like that. And with COVID-19 causing everyone to work remotely, the odds go up for insider threat because people are disgruntled, people are getting furloughed, and when you have such turmoil, it's very easy not to turn security access off. So I'm not going to speculate on what happened, but I'm going to be leaning towards some kind of inside job on this thing with a disgruntled admin that just needed the right amount of pushing for social engineering through some kind of blackmail. That's what I'm going to go with. That is as accurate as saying Martians attacked him. So
Yeah. Can I speculate?
why not? Everyone else is. Do you work for CNN? How about thoughts? Go ahead, speculate away.
Zing. I want to speculate in this way. This is what it seems like to me because I've seen this actually happen locally with the number of technology partners we work with.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a large one located in the southeast here that recently went through a breach, and it went through something like this, where a spear phishing attack, which is an impersonation, came across as a newly hired consultant.
Yeah.
And so they faked the credentials of a newly hired consultant that a company employee said, well, it's just like my company to hire a consultant and not tell me, and I'll work with them anyway.
HR.
And my assumption through some of the things I was reading about Twitter is that somebody had feigned and impersonated access to employees up until the point where the employee, if we give them all the best intentions, had a false sense of security and screen shared.
Yes, there was some screen sharing involved.
So the screen sharing piece of data leads me to think that the impersonating hacker on the other side that was posing as some sort of outside consultant or other vendor was gaining access probably to help secure, right? So when a consultant comes in, they say, you guys really need, I was hired to help with your security posture at a company.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that you guys two-factor authentication works. I want to make sure that your SMS verification, your questions, etc., are all on the up and up, especially for your most highly targeted vulnerable accounts. Mm-hmm. So we're going to audit Elon Musk account together. And the employee knows better than to share data, but they might screen share, especially working remote.
Absolutely. These are the same kind of folks, by the way, who bring their Zoom conference call up with their whiteboard behind them, and they have all the passwords and infrastructure on the whiteboard. But so, all right, let's pretend you're right and I'm wrong. Let's pretend. I mean, it's new. It never happened before, and I really enjoy using my imagination. So let's try this.
Okay.
Not an insider threat job. It is a good-meaning employee who just got manipulated remotely. This is even more horrible. The reason why this is more horrible is because it follows the trend of the third-party vendor supply chain. Over 60% of hacks originate now through that. And this is old numbers. I'm assuming it's only gone up. They originate from the third-party trusted supplier. And when we're doing cyber awareness training inside of large enterprises, what we teach them is you should know what an email looks like that is bad. Look for the misspellings. Look for the URL that doesn't do the thing. But we don't do any of the human interaction stuff. Know your business processes and procedures, so if something is different, you ask questions. Don't just assume, oh, HR always brings in a new consultant, or my managers never tell me anything. We do a pretty decent job trying to train people what a bad email looks like. What we ignore is the organizational awareness necessary for you to detect a bad actor in your trusted supply chain. So that's what's really terrifying to me, is that this trend, by the way, it used to only be 30% of hacks came in through the supply chain. In the last 4 years, it has skyrocketed to over 60. It's a 1-2 punch. Social engineer your supply chain, or represent the supply chain and social engineer the enterprise.
Wow. So, any predictions on how this Twitter hack will play out? I think you mentioned that you think this will just hit the news cycle and be gone.
Yeah.
But do you think there's a chance that this actually reverberates longer in the psyche of security cultures out there?
No. It dies very, very quickly because so many people need Twitter to work. I would love for this to make the president of the United States go, oh, this is my primary communication stream. I need to make sure, because if someone was to hack my account and rock and rolled for free reign for 24 hours or even an hour, what could they have sown if they hijacked President Trump's account and called people to action? It's terrifying. Thank goodness all they were after was Bitcoin, and they weren't trying to do something.
That's right. I guess I had not expanded my worldview to include malicious actors who might actually weaponize for their own ends, which is just terrorism, right?
Well, that's where it starts with the money, and then, it either starts with money or cause. But as soon as somebody demonstrates it can happen, that's when they weaponize the technology. When the United States allegedly attacked an Iranian nuclear power plant and broke it using only a hack, we demonstrated that it could be done, and we left fingerprints everywhere. That now lets other people weaponize that same technology and attack our power plants. So it is a horrible arms race that as soon as you play a trump card, everybody sees it and can reproduce it. And that's why I'm worried about Twitter, is that it is such a core business tool and messaging tool for so many folks that they are going to just move on. I mean, Equifax, man. Equifax got crushed, and everyone was very excited, but at the end of the day, I had to pay them to secure my credit again. I had to pay the people who got hacked and had given my data away. So when I'm thinking about long-term effect with Twitter, I think it hits a news cycle. I think everyone downplays it. I feel like it gets underreported over the long term. And the national security national security concerns get pushed aside.
All right. So, Adam, you also wrote a book on small business cybersecurity, and you know a lot about the small business, the Main Street business owner. And we say small business. It's remarkable that small business means, typically like 50 employees or less.
Right.
According to the SBA, with this latest round of SBA funding, what was the cutoff? Something like
100, I thought, or something. I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was like 500 employees or less was a small
500 employees or less is a small business, folks.
So the question I have is, what do you think a small business owner or an IT professional, a managed service provider ought to be thinking about when they hear about the Twitter attack?
Well, they need to be thinking about three things. They need to be thinking about the people, they need to be thinking about their vendors, and they need to be thinking about their customers. And I'm going to focus on the customers for most of it, but let me get the first two out of the way. Train your people, be safe. If you're working on any kind of technology stack, they are at risk. The other people are the vendors. We just got demonstrated that people that you work with and trust can have a disproportional amount of control over your employees, and you need to work out for that. But that exact same thing is true in the reverse, where you are the vendors of customers. And if you can't demonstrate to your customers that you're safe, and you go to the bidding table to renew a contract or to get a new one and can't demonstrate that you are safe to do business with, you are going to lose that contract. You are going to lose customers. It used to be demonstrating cybersecurity maturity was a nice to have kind of badge to put on LinkedIn or your website. But we have been pushing it down from the Department of Defense to Lockheed Martin to the supply chains for years, and now it's getting very, very real. If you can't prove that you are taking steps to be safe to work with, somebody else is going to prove that. And even if their product and service sucks compared to yours, they're going to get the business because they just can't afford to do business with somebody who's risky.
That moves the existential threat for the small business from somebody hacking me to me losing customers because I do not take these type of things seriously. And perhaps maybe that's where it intersects with one of my favorite sayings. Cybersecurity is too important to take seriously, which means the small business owner, the IT professional, needs to start treating cybersecurity like it's important and learn everything they can about it. And so that they know the jokes we just made, that the language and the terminology and the lexicon that we just used is not something solely utilized by security professionals. That people out there know what social engineering is because it's a real thing.
I want you to be concerned. I don't want you to be scared. When you are fearful, you make stupid decisions and buy expensive security products so you can feel safe. I want you to be curious and concerned so that you do exactly what you just said. Educate yourself, become wiser about what's going on, and probably just get off Twitter. Come on.
Let's play one last game here where we speculate wildly on how much Twitter spent pre-hack and post-hack on security and remediation. Let's go wild. Let's remember Twitter is a publicly traded company.
Yeah. Do we know how much revenue they're generating?
Nothing near their value.
Very good.
Nothing near their market cap. Twitter is one of those anomalies.
Well, you can't spend market cap. You cannot spend market cap. So,
but nobody can justify Twitter's market cap. People buy Twitter to say, maybe one day we'll see what it is.
Yeah. Well, so look, the IT budget for most organizations is a small percentage of the overall organization.
So let's pretend something. Let's pretend that their monthly revenue top 100 million. Tops.
Let me tell you what the security budget was for a $30 billion company. And then we'll reverse engineer with that.
Okay. I want to argue that Twitter is not a $30 billion cash company.
Fair. A $30 billion company, entire IT budget was $260 million. And of that, security, probably about $30 million.
No way.
So security isn't just the tools and services. Security is the methodology and how you deploy everything. So theoretically, it's all security, but it's not really. So I'm willing to bet that their Twitter's procurement officers really beat down every single security vendor that came in.
Yeah,
do you know who we are? No, I'm not paying you a X dollar per license. You're giving me that for $20,000 and you're putting your best people on it so you can have my logo. So I'm willing to bet their security budget, I mean, it's definitely in the millions.
Okay. But even if it's 30 million, let's say somehow Twitter has duped every ad buyer in the world to buy ads on Twitter. I don't know how else they make their money. I guess
I
by
think they
Bitcoin.
Just keep raising around. Aren't they on round double Z delta or something?
I think so. And I do, like you pointed out, there's a little bit of irony in the founder Jack Dorsey being such an advocate of Bitcoin and all of this.
Well, maybe they'll do initial coin offering, ICO.
Yes.
I know those aren't in fashion anymore, but we need it. We just got hacked.
But let's pretend, divided by 3, whatever, that they spent $3 million this month alone before the hack on all their security protocol. Let's imagine that's the number. Okay, which is probably higher than anybody that's listening to our podcast has budget per month to spend on security. Yeah. And they still got hacked.
Oh yeah.
Now, what's your best guess while we play this game? What they're paying now per month for the next year?
So much. So first off, the lawsuits. Okay, I've done a lot of work with this arbitration court in the British Virgin Islands.
Yep.
And if you look at similar hacks like with Target or with Wells Fargo or some of these other places, you're talking $250 million settlement is coming out of this.
Easy. And they targeted people with brands that are bigger than their companies.
Yeah.
Like the Elon Musks of the world.
Yeah, someone's going to be mad. Yeah,
and even if Elon's not mad, he can feign being mad so his lawyers get paid.
Yeah, very good. Well, yeah, the Wells Fargo payout was $50 million, and the lawyers got $55 million. So there's some lawyer out there who's letting Elon know how important this is to take seriously, sir.
So they let's say that if it's $1 billion that they have to come out of pocket at the end of all of this through their insurer and all this other stuff.
No, without a doubt, I would say that $500 million is not out of the question, because if you're going to look at it, but here's what we know. What we know is that after a company has a hack, it is really, really good at cybersecurity for exactly 6 months. So I will guarantee you that 130 accounts might have been quote unquote breached, but I'm thinking a lot more were. And what they're going to do is they're going to sit on these accounts for 6 months, because by that point, the news has died down, the highly paid consultants have left, the new software has been deployed and normalized, and all the things, and then they're going to execute and dump everything.
That's right. Middle of January 2021.
I call it.
Yeah, call it. You heard it here, folks. That's our prophecy.
Yeah.
So, but even then, on those numbers of scale, $3 million pre-spend.
Yeah.
And now they're going to spend somewhere between $50 and $60 million post. That's if we got the numbers even close to being right.
Yeah,
we didn't.
We did.
So,
but
that is on scale what it does cost, right? So the small business owner might be out. They paid $50,000 this month for security, but if they don't, the next month they're going to pay $500,000.
Well, and that's the thing, is I do want to encourage folks that you cannot outspend the Twitters, the Equifaxes, and the Wells Fargos of the world. You have to play a different game. It's not about your monthly budget. It's about how are you training your people to recognize threats. You won't win buying consultants, and you won't win by buying technology. It will be breached by your people. If you would focus on your people and on the business processes and how folks work inside of those business processes, you can have a second, third, fourth layer of defense when everything else falls apart. You have to do the basic blocking and tackling. You have to work with a good cybersecurity firm, a good managed service provider that is going to walk you through the basics on how to lock your doors. But you don't want to overspend on stuff you'll never ever need. We call that security theater, right? It's picture a door leading into your house that has like 17 padlocks and all these chains, and all the bad guys are going to do is take the bolts out of the other side of the door and open it backwards. You have to approach this with a systematic and strategic view of cybersecurity, not just here's a blank check.
Yes.
Unless you are buying products and services from one of my companies, then I'm guessing it'll probably help you.
Yes. And that's where I'd like to end it. So
that was sarcasm.
Yes.
That was sarcasm.
That is. So this has been a preview of our super secret podcast, which is coming to you at a super secret time in the future. We're very excited about this. We're going to be pushing this out to number of social platforms,
Yeah.
including the LinkedIn's. I hear that's going to be big one day.
LinkedIn's going to be great.
I'm just saying, it's a place where people share personal data anyway all the time.
Sure.
And it hasn't been hacked like Twitter yet, so let's just go for it.
Well, that's why I really feel like we're all going to be on TikTok.
All right, that's a wrap. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be coming at you soon.